Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Cards with Caitlin. I am Caitlin, and today we're going to be making a string art card with an encouragement sentiment. So let's go ahead and get started. I am using a wood palette background stamp from Altenew today. I am stamping it up or inking it up with a distress ink in Hickory Smoke. My hope for this was that it would hold on to just enough embossing powder to give it the wood texture that I was looking for. It did not hold on as well as I thought or hoped it would. I did try 2 different backgrounds, and I don't know if I worked too slowly or what it was, but I would probably go for a different kind of ink with it next time, but it did give a little bit of texture here and there. So next, I am going to be adding various shades of brown with an ink blending brush. Today we are using various Altenew inks from their coffee break line. I am using, so far I've used Mocha and Rocky Shores and Espresso, and those will be the 3 that we are going to use. It's important to remember that wood in real life is not just one perfect shade of brown. It has various highlights and shadows and divots. Wood is just not perfect because it grows in nature. And if you look at wood, it's kind of cool to look at with all the various colors and stuff like that. So I did use a sticky mat to kind of keep it in place. And there we go. So now I am going to die cut out a rectangle because I wanted to make sure that I could still use the sides if I wanted to later on. And I am not always the best at straight line cutting. So this allowed for me to make sure that the lines would stay straight and in the horizontal plane that I still wanted them to do. And now we are going to go ahead and use the string art die from Altenew, and this will be our focal point of the card. What's going to happen is it's going to create these tiny little holes throughout it, and then we are going to go ahead and go to town with some string. And there we have it. All right, so let's take a little break from that, and we are going to go ahead and stamp our sentiment. I had used the banner from the wood palette die stamp set, and I'm using the sentiment that comes with it that says "You are amazing." I like to use transparency grid. It kind of helps me. This one's from Simon Says Stamp. You can always use a piece of plain laminate or leftover packaging to help. This just helps me place it. And here I am fussy cutting it out. I had tried it with 2 different colors, swapping the colors between the outline and the sentiment. I liked this one best with it, but you will see us try them out a little bit later on. So they do sell the die cut for it. I just didn't purchase it. It's not that much more. If you think you're going to use it, go ahead and get it. I, for some reason, thought I wasn't going to. And then, oh, look, there I am using it and having to cut it out with scissors. With scissors, the one pro of it is you do get a closer cut. So if you like a closer cut, fussy cut it out. If you want something quick and simple with a little bit of a white border, then go ahead and splurge for that die. I definitely was wishing that I did for this one, but it is what it is. So, and now we're going to go ahead and transition over to the stringing part. What you'll need is some thread and a needle. And I had never done any string art before, so I wasn't quite sure where to start. So we're going to learn together. I went ahead and threaded the needle. I threaded it with 2 strings through at one time. So what that means is you'll take the beginning and the end of the thread, put it through the needle hole, and this will leave you at a loop at the end of your string. And before you start the process, we're going to puncture a hole in the middle, and then that hole is going to come into use because it is going to allow you to secure it to the paper without having to tie another knot on. So what that means is you're going to stick it through, and then you will open up that loop and you'll stick your needle through it and pull it through. This takes it all. It's just quick and simple. Then it's good to go. I didn't know how to start it, so I did start it that way. You will see me go back later and kind of fix that. I decided that throughout it, and you will see me do it, I decided to not have it side to side like that. I just went ahead and did the loop through the middle on the back, and then I didn't have to worry about it. So now basically throughout all of this, all you are doing is you are going from a top hole to the middle hole and just doing a big circle. I did try various here and there to do longer strings, so I didn't have to rethread as often. But I honestly found that to be a little bit harder because they were bigger movements with the string, because it would take, it obviously takes more time the longer the string to get it through the hole. It's a little bit harsher on my joints particularly. So for me, I will probably just stick to about the length of the thread I did it in the beginning part of this video. But I honestly enjoyed it. I've always really liked embroidery, but my joints have never been able to handle it because of the repetitive motions. But this kind of gives a little bit of the piece in the card. So I think that's really cool. And, maybe we'll have to see more of that in the future. So I was inspired to do a star. And, the theme here is masculine cards with the current AECP Level 2 course I'm working on. Because, I don't know, I felt like, that's big Texas stars that you see on garages, at least down in the South. That's what you see. Typically, I normally think of maroon when I see it, but I wanted to stay with blue. So we went ahead and did blue. So here you see me starting a new one off. And I will say, give yourself grace if it's your first card, because you have to learn what to do. And so, especially if you've never sewed before, I do sew. I haven't sewn in a very long time, but I have in the past. So that kind of gives me a little leg up. And we're going to go ahead and jump forward in our video towards the end, because I did go ahead and sit on the couch and watch TV for the majority of this card of the stringing. But we will start at the beginning at the top, and then we'll go to the middle. And then here you will see me fish it through the loop. And then you just keep going. And so I don't have to worry about it attaching to the next hole. It's good to go. And so that is how I recommend starting your card. And you just do that process throughout it as you run out of string. And it makes it really simple. And I did tape off the strings to the side once I started getting to the end, because they started to get in the way. But here I'm going to just cut off what I did at the beginning and, take it off a little bit, redo it just a tiny bit, and then adhere it so that, I didn't want what I had done unravel. So I do go ahead and, kind of tie it in and just do one or two more. So, but overall, it was pretty easy to do. It was just really repetitive, and I think it gave a really cool look. So I'm glad that we went ahead and tried this out today for a fun, masculine card. And it doesn't have to be masculine, maybe add some. It just depends on what your background is and how you choose to use it. So now we are going to go ahead and tie off this one, and then we will tie off the rest of them, and we will be good to go. I'm not too worried about how the back looks, because it is going to be glued down and no one's going to see it. So I'm just tying them all together, and then we're going to trim them. And I didn't want the strings moving around on the background, but I didn't want to add any more bulk, because remember, this being glued down. So what I went ahead and did is got a piece of double-sided tape, gathered all the string together, put the tape down, took off the back, and applied the string. So then it's kind of all adhered in one spot, and I don't really have to worry about it. You will see that I left the tape on up above, though, because I didn't want to risk it unraveling. If you do it all correctly at the beginning, the tape will be good enough to go and you won't have to worry about it. And now we're going to go ahead and use our scoring buddy to make our actual card. And then we are going to apply adhesive. Here I'm using the Barely Art liquid glue. For me, that's what works best. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue it down, and then we're going to just adhere it to the card base, and then we are good to go for that. You just want to make sure it lines up straight, especially since you have the horizontally straight lines. Now, here's the deciding time of me trying to figure out which color goes with which. Sometimes, just take the extra 2 seconds and make the colors so you have it later on to decide which one you want. It only took a couple extra minutes to have the two. So I went ahead and went with the brighter blue in the middle versus the darker blue. So I normally don't use foam tape a bunch, but I felt like because it was going on top of string partially, that I wasn't sure how the liquid glue would hold up and with a bunch of paper and all that other stuff. So I just felt like foam tape was the way to go this time around. So, thank you so much for joining us today. And I have all the details down below and on my blog. And if you like it, feel free to like it and let me know in the comments. Thank you so much. Until next time.